Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Countless Chronicles, the show within a show where we break down the episodes that have gone by over the last couple of weeks of Countless Heroes. As always, I am your RPG mom, Tessa. You can find me on Twitter at SelkyDreams.
And I'm Heather. You can find me on Twitter at amethyst_magic, and that's magic with a CK. And joining us tonight, we have Chelsea.
Hi guys,
I'm lovely Mari.
Yes, my little baby. I'm Chelsea. I'm Dang It Bar over at Twitter, and I'm really excited to be back on Countless Chronicles.
We are excited to have you.
Yes. So tonight we're going to be recapping, hopefully as quickly as we can, because there's a bunch of them, episodes 30 through 39.
And as always, at the very end, we will answer your questions and answer that very, very important question. Who do you ship?
Yes, especially now that some ships are actually starting to become
maybe just a
canon.
little bit. Maybe just a little bit.
There are some canon ships. There are some ships that have sunk. There are some ships that have sailed off into the sun. And then there's the crack ships that just bubble up from the bottom of the ocean to take over whoever wants. So we're interested in hearing from you, your questions. Please feel free to post them in Twitch chat. Someone will be monitoring, any of the three of us. We also have Logan, our illustrious DM, kind of hanging out in the background to look as well, as he always does. And then next time on Countless Chronicles, I believe we will be recapping the end of this arc, which means we will be having Logan as our guest, and he's doing what he calls the AMAA. Ask me almost anything.
Yep.
And Angela has just posted her ship, which I am super here for. Black, white, and red rainbow all over, which I believe is definitely a Syl whatever ship, which I'm here for.
Yeah. The good one. The good.
Yes.
The good ship. Heather, you want to start us off by recapping session 30? We're going to go a little bit quicker than we usually do. We're not going to go quite as in-depth. We're just going to hit the high points.
That's right. And session 30 was particularly interesting for Soxy. So, Session 30 was the dinner at the castle with Saldana the king and Zeknar Fettles. For anyone who's missed it before, Zeknar Fettles is the dwarf who discovered Lamina Island, which is where the Chitin, like Soxy, and the Faroche, like Pip, are from. So part of the whole backstory of the world is that he wrote the book on Lamina Island. So it's a big deal that we got to have dinner with him. He shows up, everything's going fine, there's lots of talk back and forth. Luckily, we were able to sort of cover the fact that Soxy doesn't actually remember anything about Lamina Island because Zeknar Fettles liked to hear himself talk. So that worked out in our favor. He talked about a bunch of the different creatures he'd seen there, including one that is some kind of undead that takes over a tree stump and takes over another creature's egg and just all sorts of craziness. I'm sure we'll post those on World Anvil at some point when we get around to it. So if you guys want to look at it more, you could find it there. And then after dinner, everyone went their separate ways. One thing that happened at this point, though, is that Owen started feeling the alcohol that he had drunk at dinner. He chose to drink the same thing as Zeknar Fettles without knowing what it was. And he ends up passing out in the carriage right when he gets to Soxy's house with her. So he ends up getting dropped off there. He spends the night. Then he wakes up in the morning in a guard's uniform, a barrel run guard's uniform. And he has their spear. And there is a naked man hogtied at the foot of the bed. And to be clear, Soxy doesn't sleep in her bed, so Owen and she are in the same room. And so somehow he managed to do this without waking her up.
And
he managed...
cat sighting, everybody drink.
Yes, cat sighting. Wait, are we doing that? Because
no, people will die of alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, we'll be dead.
Because Cupid's constantly popping up on screen.
I like how Logan tried, even though he's not technically. He's like, no, we don't put down this idea.
I'm not actually here, but no, please don't do that.
Lost you, Heather. Can't hear you.
Oh, I don't want that to happen to anyone. So, anyway, after that, he managed to get the guard out without being spotted, or well, who we think is a guard, and got him redressed. He made his way home, no major issues. And then after that, everyone met up at the beer forge. Soxy did not say anything about what had happened because Owen had asked her not to. However, she was clearly uncomfortable when a furbolg walked in wearing Owen's clothing from the night before, because Owen didn't know what happened to that. He got it back, and I believe that was when Mesralok came in. Yes.
I believe so.
Mesralok came in, and he ended up showing us some of his goods and trading some special spell components. And that was more or less the end of that session, was him talking to us about different things he has that we could use, like Ursali's Touch, which is something you can add to a healing spell to make it more potent. The big thing from dinner that I just realized I accidentally skipped over is that when the king asked for Saldana's selfish request, her selfish request was that her friends be protected from the Nocturne, which, of course, the king argued wasn't selfish, and ultimately she requested that he never put her in the spotlight again, which he agreed to.
Did you also touch on his staff, his walking stick, and what was on the head of that? Because that was kind of a big reveal.
Yes, Zeknar Feddle's walking stick had a piece of raw air shale at the top. And it seemed at least
a big piece.
He didn't know what it was. Yep. And then meeting up with Mesralok at Bear Forge was the end of that session. So now we are on to session 31.
The thing, if I might jump back a little bit, if that's okay. Not only was Saldana's selfish request about her friends, you did say never put her in the spotlight again, yes? Or did
yes, I did.
Okay. My brain kind of skipped a beat. I was like, wait a minute, did we talk about the thing? So never mind. We might go back and revisit that in more detail in the session adventure journals, because that was a very important dinner. So there might be a few things.
It's already written. There's a lot more detail in that.
Yeah. So I definitely suggest taking a look at that one. We can always jump back too if there's something specific that Logan thinks we missed that we should have detailed because it was very important and we did miss it. So, anyway, on to session 31.
Oh boy.
Would you like to take this one, Chelsea?
I can. That was a very interesting session. It started out with Saldana's dinner with the king once again. The main point was that she had been asked by the king about what she knows about the Five, which is a terrorist group in Cinderhaven that previously had blown up and exploded various parts. She said she doesn't know very much. And then she suggests that arcane focuses were allowed in the city again, and we are told that they were never really technically not allowed. But, he asked her again if she had any countermeasures for the Five, and she said that she didn't. And then she gives the list of the city guards over to the king. The king asks what she would like to be involved in, and she wants to be involved in trades in the university. Still asks her again if she has any countermeasures, and she said she didn't, and that she wanted a teleportation circle formed in the city to open up trade between other places. She has to find someone to actually do it, though, and that's when he would agree to fund it. So the next day, when session 30 actually started, everyone is kind of doing their own things, getting ready for the day. Nathan makes himself look very nice to go talk to Mari. Oshin is still trying to connect and talk to Trey further, but still has no success. Lark invites Mo to go to the Green Iron Village, and they teach, what did they teach them that time? It was...
the one with the tag with the crossbow bolt.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Thank you. Because I was thinking of the other thing we just did. They taught them how to play tag. It ended up being shot by crossbow bolts. It's fine. Everyone's fine. No one died. It's cool.
Yeah. They were blunted.
They were blunt.
Yeah, they were very blunted. Still not fun, though. During all of that, Mari is selling her sunflowers as usual, and Tybolt comes to talk to her, and they have a very weird conversation where both parties were kind of confused about various things, one of them being people watching that Tybolt doesn't understand. And he ends up inviting Mari to tea with Jastra and Afra. And because Mari is who she is, she agrees, even though she doesn't want to go. Yeah, so Lark ends up teaching them touch and go is what he called it. That's what it was.
Yep.
He just explains to Boss the game, and then says that they should have a dance party on Fridays and have Saturdays off. Boss grumpily agrees to it, even though they already have 2 days off. So Oshin runs into Nathan as he's walking over to the beer forge and notices how nice he looks. And Nathan explains that he's looking for Mari, and Oshin offers to help go with him. He gives her advice. He gives Nathan advice on how to talk to Mari and how to woo her, and Nathan's nervous. But they end up seeing that Mari is at the tea garden with Jastra, Afra, and Tybalt, and she sees how well they've known each other, and we end up finding out that everyone except for Tybalt went to school. Everyone except for Tybalt, because it was his grandfather that went to school. They all went to school together. I can't talk today, guys. Hello. And they end up being cut off by Nathan and Oshin's plan to pretend like they didn't see them, but then Oshin ruins it by waving, and they get invited over to the table. There's a really uncomfortable conversation between Nathan and Jastra that happens before Nathan pulls Mari away and leaves Oshin with the group. When he pulls Mari away, he is trying to admit his feelings for her before they're interrupted by the same furbolg that the party had conveniently run into that was wearing Owen's clothing. Mari gives him a sunflower before he goes, and then Mari notices that there is a chocolate pastry, pinwheel pastry thing, inside of her bag of flowers with a note saying, what did it say? Because I'm tired. I'd really like to talk tonight. After that, Nathan opens up about how he feels about Mari and asks her on a date which she agrees to. Back at the table, Oshin is very awkwardly having a conversation with Jastra, Afra, and Tybalt, but notices the furbolg leaving and gets excited, but isn't able to talk to them before they disappear. Oshin asks if anyone else had.
You are really crackling, and now we can't hear you. I don't know what happened, Chelsea.
Hello?
There we
There
go.
you are.
I dropped to yellow for like a good second, and then my push-to-talk stopped working. It's fine. Oshin saw a furbolg and had asked the group if they had met anyone else, any other furbolgs, and Afra had admitted that she once met one before, but that was about it. Nathan and Mari return, and they all head over to the beer forge where they I'll head over to the beer forge. Meanwhile, Saldana takes the ferry herself to get over to Barrel Run and runs into Lark and Mo. She tells Mo again that she doesn't hate him, and then learns what Lark and Mo were doing all morning, and gets very worried that they were playing tag with crossbow bolts. And that's where we took our break. When we get back, that's when they finally all meet up together at the beer forge. Saldana doesn't necessarily reprimand, but reprimands Lark about telling random people about the resistance, because it's not really a good thing. And they sit down and wait for Oshin, Nathan, and Mari to join up. Nathan's still very confused about Jastra's disdain. It makes no sense. Saldana doesn't know why she doesn't really like him at the same time. They talk about the furbolg and their days. Mo makes takes something very literally, as in foot and mouth. They end up Saldana, while trying to make plans, asks Oshin to talk to Pinball about making a teleportation circle, and Mo tells us that it wasn't Pinball that made it, but someone else that had owed him something was the one that created it. So Saldana asks Mo to find out the name and send them a message. Mo leaves at that point because he has to take care of something at home. I just got a ding. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the popping thing, I tried to fix it before. It keeps happening, so. So after Mo leaves, we all talk with Saldana, trying to comfort her, letting her know that everything that she's doing is a good thing, that she's good and she's doing good for the city, where she doesn't really believe them, but she's trying. We all suggest that we go to a spa because we needed like a relaxing day. It's been really stressful. And then a tiefling woman walks in with a bunch of other friends and makes all of the dwarves go behind the bar, and they throw the same, which we learn later, the same device that was used in the other explosions behind the bar, and effectively that chunk of the bar is just gone. It just disappears. So after that, they recognize Saldana as the queen, and they say to start sending demands through a sending spell. And they look around the group, deciding who would make a bigger impact, and said that Oshin would do it, but instead Lark jumps in front of him protectively, and they take Lark outside. And they basically announce that they're the five, and that they have the queen, and they'll kill her unless their demands are met. And then they point a gun at Lark, and end up shooting him and turning him into dust, before going back inside. And there's a very sad line of whatever you must do before Lark gets turned to dust, and we all broke. It was not a good time.
No, it wasn't fun. I wasn't even playing, I was watching, and it was not fun to watch.
It broke my heart.
It really wasn't.
I'm actually like shaking thinking about the session again, you guys. It was a thing.
It was very powerful storytelling, but also at the same time heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So they come back inside, and they're forced to sit and wait with threats of it'll happen to them if they don't be quiet. They don't work with them, and they are frustrated that their sending doesn't seem to be going through or not being taken seriously. Saldana suggests that they try to contact Jastra because the conversation with the king isn't going well. But the one of the leader, the tiefling that walked in first, says it's not going well for you. Before they try to grab Oshin, and Saldana casts suggestion on the person trying to grab him, and it's successful. After that, they shoot mags off of Nathan's shoulder. It wasn't fun. After that, we try to explain that, hey, we're kind of in a resistance, and we want to take down the king too. We have similar goals. Maybe not similar ways of doing it, but we have similar goals. Let us help you. And they don't listen. They don't believe us. They say that we are, what is the word?
Collaborators.
Collaborators, thank you. I was saying, like, contributors, and I was like, that's not it. Collaborators. So we try to explain it. We try to explain to them still. Saldana tries to explain that everything she's done and everything she's doing is to help the city and stop the king, but they don't listen. Before they grab Oshin, Saldana stands in front of them, still trying to get them to listen to reason, and suggests they use her instead. And they say that when they get to 5, they will. And then, as we're trying to stop them, they say we don't have to do it outside, we can do it here, and shoot Oshin. And then walk outside, put another mark right next to one for Lark, saying that you don't want it to get to 5. We sit there for a while, very shocked, before a very polite knock on the door happens. And they are kind of confused, so are we. And they open the door, and the same Furbolg that we keep seeing walks in. And we notice that the people that were guarding the door are on the ground unconscious. So we think there's like a little bit of hope. You know, we're getting rescued. It's great. The leader ends up seeing through the illusion on this Furbolg and has a dust that they throw over that basically destroys the illusion. And it is Javea, Saldana's handmaiden all along. They end up shooting her because they find her too cocky, and she turns to dust. So we sit there for a little bit longer, and we end up overhearing that the king is not coming. So they grab Nathan, who ends up kissing Mari because he thinks he's about to die, and he gets pulled away. But before they're able to take him outside, the door opens, and the person dragging Nathan gets thrown into the hole in the bar somehow before Haley, Mari's roommate, walks in. She has yellow eyes, and there are runes very similar to what we've seen on the Nocturne appear. And she ends up crumpling all of the 5 into basketball size balls of metal and flesh and just real gross. It's real gross, but it's wonderful because we didn't die. It's great. After she does that, she ends up collapsing onto the ground unconscious. We end up getting out. We get taken to the castle, and on the way there, Saldana receives a sending spell from Javea saying that we're okay, we're in a cell, and we're all together. When they had been shot, they were teleported to a cell in a place that they really weren't sure. And while they were waiting, and once Javea was there, she ended up sending the sending. So we get to the castle. Jess, Saldana, Mari, Nathan, and Haley get to the castle. The king asks Saldana if she's okay, and Mari is constantly demanding, asking why didn't he come, and he ignores her. But eventually Saldana makes him answer. And he says that he knew a bit about the Five, their tactics, and how they don't kill innocents, and that he's not going to worry about personal comfort, and he hopes that we don't do the same, and we all say we're not gonna. We don't like you, essentially. We end up going back to Reynard Manor. Saldana lets some of the servants know that she does not want the king to know where she is. He can know that she's gone, but he cannot know where they went. So Oisin, Lark, and Javea get rescued by Amy, who is a friend at this point, or at least someone that we can kind of trust. And they end up realizing that they're in the Temple District and make their way over to Reynard Manor, where Javea and Saldana share a moment where Saldana's checking on her, and they all hug Oisin and Lark, and they all kind of calm down. Saldana writes a few letters that were sent to her friends and her parents, informing that the recipients of the group are fine and what had happened. Nathan goes to a private room to summon a new form for Mags, while Mari goes to sit with her roommate Haley in a room. And Haley ends up waking up, and Mari asks what happened and what she did, and she explains that when she was a child, she got sick and died, and that her parents had sent her to a group of people saying that they could help her, and brought her back. But she had been brought back incorrectly. Something was wrong. After her parents died, her older sister began caring for her, and they had realized that she had abilities to make people sick if she got distracted. If she got distracted and didn't focus on anything. They ended up getting caught, and they had to run. And Haley reveals that was over 70 years ago. Mari says that she may need to answer more questions, and Haley's worried that she'll need to leave again, but Mari tells her that she doesn't have to, that she has basically, the queen is kind of now her friend a little bit. So she ends up going back to sleep. And then Lark is comforting Saldana, telling her that she is the light and will bring hope into saving the city, but she tells him thank you and that she wanted to talk with him later. I lost my point. Oisin goes back to pinballs and admits his fear of almost dying and being in a cell, and asks to stay, which Pinball responds to with forever, as in moving in and living with him. It's very cute. And Oisin stays with Pinball and gets comfort. Mags gets turned into a new form, which is a pseudo dragon, and it's very cute. And Nathan, Saldana, and Mari stay they stay there for a while, and then Nathan and Mari head back to the Brella estate to recover, while Haley, after she wakes up, returns to her and Mari's home. And then at the very end, we learn that Saldana will be refusing dinner with the king later in the week. And that was session 31. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
A lot happened that night, and all of it was...
And it hurt.
Emotionally painful.
It hurt so much.
So, jumping in to session 32, we started off with Pip going to have a quick chat with Zeknar Fettles, since he was very disappointed that he had missed the dinner. It was a quick chat, and he did much of the talking. Finku spent some time working on some special tools for Oisin, and Rosie went to check on Mari at the manor, and they had a nice conversation. While Rosie was there, Mari asked if she would watch over Haley, because Mari needed to go speak with Lady Erassus. So, Mari goes to Lady Erassus after the upset of the day before and says, "Please help me with my Nicosta powers. I need to figure this out." And Jastra asks about what had happened the day before. and pushed, asking her if she had told anyone about her Nicosta powers, if she had told people about Jastra's Nicosta powers. And when finding out that Mari had spoken about it, basically said, if I can't trust you with my secrets, I don't know that we can do this. So you need to trust me with one of yours, and pushed to find out information about Phoenix Dawn. And Mari, being the badass that she is, said no and walked away from that information, which was difficult, I'm sure.
Very much so.
Mari leaves after that and goes back, and Rosie asks how it was, and Mari just says nothing really happened. Jasper was definitely visibly annoyed by the whole exchange and not getting any information. Owen goes off to the clinic, and Holly comes out saying that they had a small problem, realizing that imminent domain is now basically happening in the Dawn District. A gnome named Daster is living where the new hospital will be, and he said he's not moving, but he might move for 100 gold. And Owen says that he'll see what he can do. Pip and Primepart come back from hunting, and after reading the journal, are very worried, so they come back as soon as they can. But on the way back, they find a turtle smoking a cigar with what looks like a Feroche pelt across his back. And they learn that his name is Wabora, and they have a little bit of small talk before continuing back into the city. The group meets all together at the tea garden, and as people are sitting down to tea, Rosie talks about putting a mark of the 5 on one of the nearby buildings to try and get answers, but the rest of the group is really hesitant about putting people in danger, especially after the day before. So the group decided to go to check the beer forge basement. After eating, they want to make sure that everyone was okay there. They're very worried about the staff, and they want to make sure if anything was left behind. And as they're leaving, they run into Wabora again. Pip directs him to tip to tail, and that's when Primeheart notices the fur being Feroche on his back. The group asks Pip what he wants to do about the turtle, and he says he'll think about it while they investigate the beer forge, because saving the egg tubes from the basement is serious business. Inside, Ivy is surveying the damage, and after a few minutes of briefly talking to her, the building starts rebuilding itself, which is great, and everyone is fine, and no one died during the transformation. After checking on a few things, and Pip got his egg tubes, Finku offers to help rebuild the bar area, and they find a small golden brass ball, which looks like the object that was thrown the day before that shrunk everything or made it disappear. And in a move of sly sneakiness, Owen goes, "Oh, hey, I think I must have left that here. I think that's mine." And he pockets it. As the group leaves, and Pip asks Ivy to keep an eye out for the turtle with the pelt and to let him know if she sees them. He's a little worried. The group heads to Tip to Tail to ask about the turtle, and when they arrive, Briar says they left 20 minutes ago, but not sure where he went. And as they're pondering on what to do, Mesri enters the store and asks the group for help in getting Pesk a gift, which was very nice. He got some high-quality leather, some nice glitter, and some pretty-smelling soaps.
It was the cutest thing.
Yeah, I was very excited. After they do a little chatting, and Mesri pats Finku on the shoulder, sending Finku sprawling into the ground, because Mesri doesn't know his own strength, he heads off to go find Pesk and give her the gifts. Pip asks the tanner, Basil, for information on the turtle, and after talking about what Pip is concerned about, they say they won't do business again if it happens that the turtle, Wabora, did in fact kill the Feroche. The group decides to go looking for him, and using Speak with Animals. I'm so sorry. I did not breathe enough during that sentence, apparently. The groups decide to split up, some looking for the turtle, and the other half are going to go look and use the Mark of the 5 to try and find out more information about what happened yesterday. When Rosie puts the Mark of the 5, suddenly a crowd appears, and it seems to be building up quicker. And a halfling grabs Rosie's hands and takes her through the streets, definitely separating her from the rest of the group. And they talk about what Rosie needs. Rosie talks about what happened at the beer forge, and the halfling, who we know as Daisy now, is disappointed in thinking that our group are collaborators and into nothing but gaining power. Rosie tries to convince Daisy that Saldana isn't a collaborator to the king, and she doesn't know what to say to get them to believe her. But Daisy responds that they've seen it too many times, and nothing that Rosie says will make her believe her. Before she leaves, Daisy tells Rosie that the friends need to step up and prove they're resisting before the king is loved again by the masses. Rosie asks permission to contact them again if needed, and they said that if Rosie specifically needs Daisy, then yes, she can contact them. Rosie also asks a meeting for the people who will listen to what she has to say, and they respond that they'll try to organize that. After a minute or so, the rest of the group find Rosie on their own, and Rosie tells the group that she may have a meeting with the five soon, and she'll probably be alone for it, much to the dismay of most of the rest of the party. Rosie also relays the information that she was told to the group, and the group are not entirely sure what to do with all that. The party does try to find the turtle that was said to be in some water, and when they asked the people and animals, they headed that way. They started hearing this humming of the Song of the Resistance, with it becoming more apparent until eventually they're singing all around, and Aldeon is seen, kind of hidden in the crowd, but leading some of the singing, not as boisterously as he did before, but kind of quietly, just reminding the rest of the group what they're really fighting for. And even though they don't find the turtle, there's a little bit of renewed spirit by the end of the session.
Yep, we had several sessions where a lot of things happened.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yip-a-doodles.
Okay, so session 34 started off with, this one was interesting. So this was the first time Saldana refused dinner with the king.
Oh, man.
So
Sorry,
yes?
Mari's restarting her computer real quick. So
I will be here now.
Oh,
Hello.
it's a login.
Hello.
Login. Do you want to do this?
I don't have a fancy frame, I don't think. I might.
No, she made you one.
Oh, shit.
Angela
I should
made
get
you
my
one.
frame.
Get your friend. Come and
I'm
join
working
us.
on it. Go ahead. What's going on? Where
Well,
are
Okay, session 34.
we? Okay. Something happened in session 34, I'm sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the it's the one where Saldana refused dinner with the king. So she refused dinner with the king for the first time since getting married to him, and basically just said she wouldn't be attending. She didn't really say that she was sick or anything, just that she wasn't going to go. But he sent her a letter, specifically a scroll. Lady Saldana, I hope that you feel better soon. I understand that you would not have jeopardized our relationship for any reason but an illness. I look forward to seeing you at our next dinner. Your husband. P.S. I have asked your mother to check on you.
Oof. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
So she throws the scroll away and ends up discovering that there's a 12-course dinner being set up downstairs, which she completely ignores, and she has the servants enjoy themselves eating it. Then the next morning, Javea has another scroll for her. Lady Saldana, I understand that you were too ill to enjoy the meal last night. I have returned the chefs to you for breakfast. Your husband. And so, again, there's a bunch of chefs and a bunch of food. And Jastra is there this time. She's shown up for the morning and is talking to her about the whole, why aren't you living with the king? There's talk in town about it. Da-da-da-da-da. You know, why are you still hanging out with all of those commoners? And Saldana states that she really doesn't want to live her life as a haughty noble looking down on others, and she doesn't want to keep doing the things that the Erastus family's been guilty of in the past. So she packs up all her stuff and she leaves. Or at least a bunch of her stuff and leaves. Syl and O'Sheen spend time talking about beard oil and glitter because Syl wants to get something for Pinball. Primeheart started off his day in the forest and then headed over to Reynard Manor. Pip started making a murder wall tracking the turtle within the city. So like one of those walls that has like the red thread from one thing to another all across it. He started one of those.
Murder wall.
Yeah, murder wall. And GB started research. Pesk slept in, cuddled up with Mesri. didn't actually watch this session, so I don't know if there's details on exactly why she was cuddled up with Mesri.
She was very upset and did not do well. Oh, did we miss something? Oh, we were missing something, it looks like, potentially.
Oh, from the last session?
Yeah, we missed an episode. It looks like they never made it to the notes, so I'll do a very quick recap.
Notes?
We weren't using the scribe notes at the moment. We're using this. We were using the session notes. What happened is we went looking for. We were hunting down the turtle, and we found some other folks by the name of First, Might, and Wit, who had taken a gentleman who was clearly at the end of his life, and said, "Right, we know you're doing something to make them turn into Goa. We can't figure out what it is. Do it for us." And Pesk and Lark were not having it, and Pesk basically told Al, "Look, you bring me somebody, you get me back in this situation when somebody who can talk to me and verify that this is what they want, and I'll do what you ask. But it's got to be that." And instead, Pesk ended up, knowing that the man was dying, basically provided end-of-life care and put him out of his suffering. And it broke her a little bit, so that's why she was curled up with Mesri. We all went back to Pimble's tower to try and recoup after that, so that is why she was in Mesri's lap. So that is a very, very brief synopsis of what was missed there. I apologize.
Okay. Murder Wall, Mesri. Okay. So, Primeheart managed to meet up with Saldana just as she was leaving Reynard Manor, and then everybody went over to Moe's tower to discuss what to do. Pinball came downstairs, and a big group hug ensued after the events of the previous day. And everyone decided to track down the turtle, since it seemed to be the least emotionally draining situation that they could deal with at the moment, because after the previous day, no one wanted to deal with emotionally draining for obvious reasons. And Saldana spoke with Pinball about getting a teleportation circle built within the city. So my understanding is he was going to reach out to the people who had worked with him before. In the Skyroot Forest, Primeheart was able to track the turtle in the forest, and they picked up the trail, had to deal with a bunch of traps, and eventually they found the turtle and talked to him. It turned out that the pelt was actually from Lamina Island, and that the turtle had gotten it during Zeknar Feddle's expedition there. And he said that Feddle's book is full of lies, and explained that the Faroche pelt had belonged to one of his friends. So I didn't watch this episode, but it was implied that it was sort of a remembrance to his friend, as opposed to anything creepy. My cat is not cooperating with me. And then the party returned back to the city, and as they entered, they could hear the construction happening over by where the new hospital is going to be built. So they're knocking down a bunch of things in the slums and in that district, and they're rebuilding some of the temples also. So there's construction going on over there. So GB is talking about Saldana possibly being able to have more control over the Nocturne, and then all of a sudden there's a ton of yelling and screaming from over by the construction because they had they'd demolished the little flower display and picture that Tyrell had put up for Imelda. So Tyrell turned them all into desiccated bodies because it's Tyrell. And they tried to talk to him. They tried to get him to stop, but he was so pissed he wasn't really listening. And he starts demanding that they tell him where Tybalt is, because only killing Tybalt is going to fix the problem. And as it turns out, Tybalt is just as old as Kembrick was when he died, which is close to 24 years before. It's also sort of assumed and or revealed there are 7 individuals under the Gaius, and that ending any one of those threads will help remove the Gaius that's preventing people like Pinbull from telling us more information. The 7 individuals are Afra, Pinbull, Tyrell, Imelda, the Keysmith, we still don't know who he is, Kembrick Lockridge, and one unknown person. And because Kembrick is dead, the thread has now passed on to his bloodline, which is why he wants to kill Tybalt. So
that's the theory.
Yeah, that's our theory anyway. And there's one unknown person, and Saldana asks who it might be, which Tyrell tells her, ask your mother. So it's assumed at this point, since we know she went to school with Afra and Kembrick, that it might be Jastra. And Tyrell knows the Keysmith's name, but he can't tell it to us because of the Gaius. And then an ancient cat shows up, and Tybalt picks it up, and they leave with it. And he tells everyone that the Brel estate is at risk if they don't bring him Tybalt.
Well,
lots of threats in that one.
Yeah. The 2-day reprieve. Oh, and Chelsea's back.
Hi, guys.
Bye-bye, guys.
Thanks.
Hi, Logan.
I have returned.
So we are on session 35, just in time for you.
Wait, give me 2 seconds to get my stuff together. Hold on.
No worries. Do you want me to take 35?
Probably.
All right, session 35. Saldana's dinner with the king. Saldana goes back to the king to have dinner, and he's very, very uncomfortable. While he is trying very hard, and the servant announces that she has come home, she does express her discomfort with the attention and the dinner that the king had sent her. King mentions it's difficult understanding what she wants when she barely talks to him. And she mentions that it's hard to talk to him when, she thinks her and her friends are all gonna die. So there's a bit of an impasse there. Saldana asks for protection for the Brel estate to protect Tybalt from Tyrell. The king, seemingly aware of the danger that Tyrell possesses, has his best and personal nocturne, by the name of Amy, sent to watch over Tyrell. Afterwards, the king attempts to bring Saldana out to a play, try and arrange for her to meet her favorite author or go travel, and she politely refuses each request. Over dessert, he asks what it is that she can grant her, and she asks for a break from their dinners for 1 week so she can recover from the day prior, and says that they will resume the next week. And he agrees immediately, and dinner ends. On the way back home, Saldana talks to Javea about her hypothetical suggestion about moving back into the castle with the king. And Javea points out that she may be safer, but also it wouldn't be a good idea for Saldana to continue to keep him at arm's length if they do. And the next morning, in the journals, handwritten in the same handwriting that wrote in "Where are the Nocturne?" a new phrase, "Do not kill Tyrell," appears. GB had written that he thinks that maybe they were going to have to kill Tyrell, and that actually put a lot of stress on certain party members going, but I don't want to. So, that was a thing. Pip makes breakfast at the Brel estate, only to find Swazi cooking instead, making a makeshift spit and cooking lizards that he had caught in some sort of breakfast stew. As people start to come downstairs, Swazi leaves, leaving Pip with these cooking lizards and just everything going crazy. So Pip tries to save breakfast with Mari's help. Owen returns from his early morning, and he and Mari briefly discuss plans that could happen with Tyrell and Tybalt, having few ideas, knowing that their 2 days is up. Syl meets with whatever in the park, and they take turns drawing and painting, trying to make the park more beautiful. Syl laments over how talking to people doesn't ever seem to work out like it should, noting her seeming unsuccessful attempts with both First and Tyrell, and what she can't fight either of them. As Syl is putting away her paints, Tyrell shows himself, and she asks that he give the full day to meet and figure something out. And Tyrell decides to go with them to our lunch meeting at the Beer Forge. On the way, Syl mentions something about a little birdie telling her about him being able to influence the Nocturne. Something that Tyrell cannot talk about because of the guest, and he figures whoever mentioned it either knew the keysmith or was the keysmith. So Tyrell wants to talk to whoever the little birdie is, and Syl mentions it was the king, and Tyrell groans that the keysmith must have only told the king and loses hopes of a solution. Back at the Divine Foundry, Pesk throws herself into her work after reading the suggestion to kill Tyrell. She goes to find Aphra, and only to hear a conversation between Aphra and Jasper from the door. Aphra talks about how long she doesn't know what it is, and has heard them, quote-unquote, mention lunch meetings, but thinks that is, quote, all it is. Jasper begins to leave, and Pesk knocks to make it seem like she'd just arrived. Jasper seems skeptical, but leaves, noting the tea date with Aphra as usual. Pesk asks Aphra about her crack theory that Tybalt is his own grandfather. I still stand by this decision. 100%. Hashtag Tybalt's his own grandfather 2018. I'm not giving it up. Actually, I probably should. Aphra says she was with Cambridge when he died. It's not possible. Pesk, you're a crazy person. They have a brief conversation about Jasper and Saldana, and Aphra agrees that Jasper is protective of Saldana and that she loves her very much. And Pesk agrees, but says that she wishes Saldana could hear it a bit more often. And Aphra agrees with her. Back in the Pearl District, Owen, Pip, and Mari leave and make their way to the Beer Forge, and they bump into Amy, who has arrived at the Brell estate to protect them. Tybalt as well. He gets a little nervous seeing Amy, and Owen asks why Amy's armor doesn't bear this. Owen asks why Amy's armor bears the seal of the king, something she doesn't remember. She only remembers being born about a year prior, reminding us that Amy is the only Nocturne that can remember things. Saldana arrives to check on her friends and Tybalt, and the group enters to talk with him. Tybalt is confused about there being a Nocturne and the property, and Saldana explains the reasons for being there. Tybalt is very worried, and he's afraid. The group tells him that they are on their way to speak to Tyrell to convince him to stop. Pesk waits for the group at the usual lunch meeting in the Beer Ford and sees Syl with Tyrell, pointing out that he has come to speak with them peacefully. Syl stays by the door so she can warn the rest of the group, and Pesk tries to make small talk with Tyrell in her very pesky way. Tyrell is unhappy that the group hasn't come up with a new solution, and they try to find out more about the keysmith, but they have all the information that they can get with everybody being under the gas. Syl suggests they use the connection with the king to learn more, but Tyrell finds out that it wouldn't work. He explains that he and the other have used divination magic. Oh my gosh, I cannot speak today. I apologize. To try and find the keysmith. They think that he might already be dead. The group tries to dissuade Tyrell from his plan to kill Tybalt, and revealing that she could talk to the king and potentially learn more about the keysmith, Saldana asks for a month extension to learn more. He agrees, and leaves his coin purse and on the table. Pips goes through the coin purse and finds it is mostly filled with platinum coins. Syl follows Tyrell, and he brings out his vial of airshell powder and hands it to her. The group kind of realize that he's giving away all of his earthly possessions, which is not good. He also points out that Aphra is the one who would know the most about airshell, and she probably knows more than she is letting on. Owen realizes it's weird for a man to leave behind his valuables and begins running out the door with the group rushing behind him. They run back to the Pearl District, taking the ferry to get to the Brell estate, and Pip hands Saldana the pouch with Amy's summoning disc inside. Saldana and Mari rush into the estate to check on Tybalt, who is currently safe. Syl comes in a little while later, and Pesk and Owen eventually enter behind everyone else, with Pip staying outside to talk with Amy. As Pesk enters, she hears a noise in the sitting room and finds Tyrell in there writing something. Saldana and Mari stand next to Tybalt to protect him, while Syl asks for at least a week to find out what they can do. Saldana crushes the coin and calls Amy to them. Tyrell explains to Tybalt that the group reminds him of his own friends, and as the group tries to talk him down from what he's doing with little results, He points out that the group did give him a gift and prepares a spell, pointing it at Amy, who then turns him to dust, breaking the line. Pesk remembers that Tyrell was writing something down and finds 4 scrolls against Pinball, Afra, Jastra, and Syl. She hands Syl the one for her, Pinball, and Jastra, and takes the one for Afra and just walks out. Syl reads, "Thank you for trying. Thank you for another way out. Please see these other scrolls get delivered. Tell them I did it for her, and tell them they have to do the right thing." When Tybalt clubs down from the idea, Saldana offers him a place to stay at Reynard Manor for a while, and he agrees.
Okay.
And that is that session.
Oh, this next session is yeah, this one was interesting. I can take this one if you don't want to.
Okay, yeah, because I was in the one after, so I can do that one.
Okay, so
we learned a lot this session.
Yes, we did. Session 36, The Return of Yoth. So it started off with the usual things. Everyone's doing what they need to. But this particular session started off a little different. Logan did some one-on-ones with the people that were taking letters from Tyrell to other people. So Pesk took her letter to Afra. Afra's in her office. She's crying. It's very emotional. And she reads the letter. She doesn't show it to Pesk, but she reads the letter and then reveals to Pesk that basically Tyrell was demanding that she fix issues that had been buried for a while. So he wants her to fix some of the things that they had done. And he didn't ask, he demanded in his letter, which was very like him. And Pesk offered to assist her in anything Afra needed if she could. O'Sheen took his letter to Pinball, and similar situation transpired with Tyrell making demands in his letter, and Pinball. One thing Pinball did talk about that's a big deal is he talked about the fact that what Tyrell wanted him to unbury had a lot to do with probably some of the things that happened to O'Sheen and Soxy, as well as the fact that it's something so buried underneath layers and layers of just people not knowing about it or not remembering that most people don't even realize it's a thing anymore. So he's not sure what to do with it. And he does tell O'Sheen that if he wants him to, he will figure out how to get O'Sheen and Soxy to the right place so that he can restore their memories. Saldana takes her letter to Jastra, and there's a lot of conversation. It's really the first heartfelt conversation between Jastra and Saldana ever, as far as we know. Maybe when she was little, there was more, but recently, at least, it's the only one we've seen. And Jastra has also painted a picture of Saldana on her wedding day, and it's just Saldana. There's no king. But come to find out, Jastra keeps asking Saldana for information about what she's doing, and Saldana flat out refuses. Turns out that was a test, and she passed the test. So Jastra takes Saldana to the temple that they have in their house, pushes a button in the pulpit area, and it reveals a hidden door behind the altar. They go down some steps, and Saldana is shown a room with weapons and maps, and it's clearly a war room underneath the Erasmus estate. And sitting at one of the tables is Aldion. Turns out Jastra is not only part of the resistance, but she is the leader of a different cell. So not our cell, but a completely different one. And we also find out that Aldion is the one who wrote the messages in the book with the handwriting we didn't recognize. Yoth came back, and as he's coming back, he's going to go talk to Pinball about information and having access to the library again. And he finds himself trailed by Straps and Buckle, who we'd met before, way back when, early in the campaign. And there's talking, and keeps talking to him, saying, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" and all that kind of stuff. Eventually, he gets to Pinball's, where he makes himself comfortable and ends up getting fed a lot of food, and runs into Soxy for the first time. And leaving there to head to the beer forge to meet up with everybody else, he's again followed by Straps and Buckle. She ultimately tells him, "Hey, I've got someone you should talk to. I've got someone I want you to meet." And he gets into a fancy carriage and is taken somewhere. He's taken to a large warehouse, and he can't see the person he's talking to. But given what's being said, he believes he's talking to the king. And so he starts trying to make demands and trying to play both sides. The king ultimately asks for 2 names from the Dawn, besides his wife, implying that he knows Saldana's part of the resistance. And Yoth tries to give him fake names, but the king says no, he sees through it. Then he tells him he has 3 seconds before he's killed by a nocturne. And at that point, there's armor sounds going in the background, so he thinks there's actually a nocturne there. And he gives up Zreet's name. At that point, the lights change, and Aldion appears, looking very disappointed. And he tells Yoth that he failed the test that he was being given, and his book is taken away. Because what's coming up next... Sorry, my cat is being irritating.
Wants your love, man.
You would think. So he basically tells Yoth that the things that are coming up, the plans that are in place that need to happen next, require people who are willing to put themselves on the line no matter what, and for people they don't even know, which Yoth isn't willing to do. He does say that he will only reveal information under threat of his own life. He's not going to just give somebody information. He's not going to betray the resistance, which everyone appreciates. But he isn't willing to sacrifice himself for people he barely knows, let alone people he doesn't know at all. And so he's still sort of a consultant for the resistance, but he is no longer a full member.
This was after he had gone to Moe's tower to look for Pinball and basically ate poor Moe out of everything in the house, right?
Yeah, no, he gorged himself quite heavily. Okay. And then everyone met up at the beer forge and started talking about, oh yeah, this is Yoth, introducing him, all that kind of stuff. He explains that he's now a consultant and no longer just a straight up member. Eris the Braith, the only other Braith we've met that we know of, also showed up, talked with the group briefly, and ultimately headed out. And then the end of the session was fairly chill, just chatting, talking about things back and forth. Yoth called Soxy Buggy McBuggerson, so she gave him tons of shit because she wasn't going to stand for that. And ultimately they toasted Yoth's retreat. None of us can talk tonight. This is going great.
It's not like we have to talk or anything. It's fine.
Right? Okay, it's all you, Murray.
Had returned.
Yes. So, session 37 was that one? Yeah. Sorry, it's only in our session recaps. It's not in the actual note block, so I had to double check everything. It took me a second. It starts out with another one-on-one between Mari and Haley, where Haley admits that she has feelings for Mari, but Mari tells her that as much as she loves her, it's not like that. But they agree to still be good friends and to live together because they've known each other for a while and they're best friends. Pesk heads to the Temple District to look at books in the Knowledge Temple to find out about what was the god's
Oh god,
name?
Algazoth.
Algazoth. Algazoth. Okay, I couldn't remember.
Algazoth.
She ends up finding a description of him that he rides on a giant black bear, uses a viper as a whip, and has a trumpet and some sort of skull mask head. So Syl goes to talk to Afra about the scrolls and several subjects and inquires about the boat lift. And Afra says there isn't much she can say, but she's going to work on finding things out. Lark and Mo introduce Rosie to the Green Iron Goblins, and they teach them a new game. This one, I think, it was called Kick the Can. Yes. Using a coffee can from the Brell estate, Rosie meets all of them, and we have many, many names that now Logan has to remember, and it's great. Including Bailiff, which everyone was surprised by. All of us kind of took a second to realize that he said that and then lost it. Oshin wakes up and speaks to Pinball about life and the scrolls and mentions the upcoming costume party. And they end up deciding to go as the king and queen. And they go to purchase the costumes. And they look amazing and it's wonderful. Anyways, everyone meets up at the Beer Forge again, and our lovely Stroop, our friend from the what is the waffle place? Oh my god. What?
Waffle Nest.
Thank you, Waffle Nest. Wow, brain is jelly. And Stroop, Jesus Christ. Stroop is there working with Ivy to create new egg tube creations, as well as making essentially funnel cake, and it is really good, and we all get samples, and it's great. Pesk, Syl, Mari, and Oshin talk about things and try out the new foods. Meanwhile, Lark casts Find Steed when he gets back to the temple to create a giant, it was a brown bear, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a Kodiak bear. Named Foster, who he introduces to Mo, and he leaves. Mo's like, nah. And Rosie and cuddles with Foster, and they all get to know each other, and they mount up and ride into the Beer Forge to introduce to everyone. Everyone except for Pesk is in love with him at the first time they see him, but Pesk fucking books it because she had just read about this god, and she's like, So she goes to run to warn Afra that this god is coming to get her again. And while she's there, Afra talks to her and realizes what's going on and sends a sending to Mari to let her know where Pesk went and that she's on her way back. And so they meet up basically after they all take the ferry to join her, and Pesk apologizes, and it's all good. It's all fine. It was very funny. And that's where we take our break. So then after meeting up with Pesk, we decide to go to the tea garden for lunch instead, even though we were just at the Beer Forge and just gotten food and drinks. It's fine. But we see Jastra sitting by herself outside of the tea garden, which before this, Pesk had learned that she was supposed to have a meeting with Tybolt and Afra, but they're not there. But before Oshin and Mari sit down to talk with and to have lunch with Jastra, Oshin pulls her away to warn Mari about being careful when talking about Nathan, since last time Jastra seemed to get very protective. And Mari basically goes, I don't care. Jastra can go away. I don't care. Everyone gets tea, sits down, and Rosie gets an entire tin of coffee grounds for Tybolt because the Brell estate was running out, and he didn't want to have to do it himself because he wants servants to do it. We end up learning, finally, the group ends up learning that Jastra is part of the rebellion and runs another group.
Hold on 1 second. I want to back up because there's a very important point there. You guys made him grind on a little 2-ounce grinder an entire can.
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
I forgot about that.
That was so mean.
I didn't forget. Oh my god.
He got cranker's cramp.
Mari didn't, okay? Listen.
All right.
Wasn't it Rosie and Lark? Because they're the ones who wanted
but
the
they were
can.
inside, they didn't know. I'm sure they wouldn't have done that had they known. Anyway.
No, probably not.
Didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, it's fine. So they end up learning that Jastra is part of the rebellion and runs another group, and that Saldana was asked not to tell anyone or to write it in the book until now. We also learn that... Was it? Yeah, it was her. We also learned that the 5 has a cache of supplies that's being guarded, but it should be enough to get. Rosie says that she doesn't really like the idea because she was trying to gain trust with them, but the rest of the group wants to go, so she puts aside her issues and casts disguise self to make herself look like a gnome just in case. We end up going to the cache, and Mari shapes into a bear because she didn't want to be recognized, and Foster and Mari burst through. Oshin has disguised himself as an elf, etc. We all hide or do something. We end up finding a beast inside that looked like a direwolf with a human face and fought it very quickly, knocked it down. We didn't kill it. We just knocked it unconscious. After we beat the creature, Daisy, our lovely not friend from the 5, shows up and doesn't recognize anyone because everyone's disguised, but threatens us that we don't know who we're stealing from, and we let her go. She said that others would be coming, so we grab the crate very quickly and head out, and Rosie feels extremely guilty. So once we get back to the safe house, we open up this box, and there is a ton of stuff, like magic scrolls, potions, climbing rope, bag of holding, a ton of other stuff. It's so useful. After that, Zreet shows up and tells us that we did a good job and that we'll have an assignment written in the books for tomorrow. And that is where session ended.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness.
The next session, Pesk had a good moment. That was the best.
Well, you know. Sorry, I was being pinged too. Alright. So things took a turn here. After we've acquired all of these objects, ropes of climbing, health potions, tons of goggles, it was a veritable treasure trove. Zreet has assignments for us. And so the next morning, we prep. Prime Heart does a beautiful thing for the Burrell estate, spending 8 hours casting plant growth to create rainbow orchards in honoring Nathan's family. Nathan spends his time researching the vessel. Finko finishes Oshin's thieves' tools. Pesk works on a special project for Mesri.
It's so cute.
And Mari relaxes because she really freaking deserves it.
Yeah. She got a new look going on. It's great.
A little while later, after gathering at the safe house, Zreet comes flying in and tells us of a new task. The group is heading to a place called the Undermist, which is located underneath the waterfalls in down by the Wood Elf City. Aldeon is originally from there. He is a Wood Elf and has made some arrangements that we could go in, but we have to be exceedingly careful because Undermist is connected to the Feywild. And so there are very specific rules about what you can and cannot remove. We were told very specifically not to leave anything behind. Don't take anything outside of the Hag's Cave. Don't take anything out of it. Don't follow any lights. Don't cross any bits of tree passage or foliage where you can't see the other side. Be careful. We are being watched for our protection. And don't kill anything that doesn't attack you first. Try to convince them to run away. Use as much diplomacy as you can. Only get into a fight if you absolutely has to. And the funny thing, of course, to me, particularly as a player, is the moment where Zreet points out all of the male party members and says, "Don't leave anything behind."
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And Pesk is the one who gets the joke.
Yeah.
Of all people.
First. She gets it first, and it's wonderful.
I was real pleased. She's like, Pesk gets it. Come on, y'all. Pesk understands this.
Really?
So we are going to be retrieving a cauldron from a sea hag. But we use, after going down to the Bilgeport, the group uses water walking to get across the ocean. Sorry, I just noticed my cat working her way up. Just scratching her way up. Sorry about that. Pesk uses water walking to get us from Bilgeport to the base of the falls. And as we are walking, there's a huge shadow that some of us see. And it goes on and on and on and on. Some of us are a little concerned that that shadow might be a Leviathan underneath us, so we'll keep moving. Nathan planted and somehow managed to faceplant into the water while the spell is trying to keep him afloat. But,
he rolled a natural 1.
It was real special.
Yeah.
Eventually we enter into the cave of the Uttermist. And it's beautiful inside. It is just verdant and expansive. And as we're walking, after about a half a mile or something, we realize that we've hit this kind of open area where it's all lit. And it doesn't feel like we're in a cave anymore, but we can look back and see the cave's entrance. So we know we're still in there, but it's this beautiful, expansive wooded areas. As we're walking, we come across a field of onions. And as we advance through it, they're big onions. And we realize that we're being followed by a fey creature. Pesk uses tongues to speak to the creature, and the two have a little chat. And he grants Aliu, gives the group permission to walk through the field, since we were so respectful from the beginning of our journey through. And he offers Pesk an onion, who would have taken it had there been the "don't take anything" rule, because she was so trying to be so polite. To avoid offending anybody. As we continue walking, the group sees a giant horned creature coming from one of the hills. He looks to be a stag of some sort, but the horns are twisted like thorny vines across his head. And he comes up to the group and tries to convince the group that they need to go to another place. This is not the way to the Sea Hag. And there is water and rest and plentiful food. The group is steadfast in their beliefs, and they firmly apologize, but say, no, we need to continue on. And he eventually leaves, and everybody's mind get wipes, except for Nathan, who has been drawing this creature. He did ask permission to draw the creature. And he comes back over the hill, and the group again goes through the same thing. But Nathan remembers the creature, and then, recalling his studies, knows that this was an Izarak and names the creature. And as he does so, it breaks apart, revealing a spectral creature on the inside, having strange sideways teeth that it goes to attack. And Oshin, having dealt with his own issues and trying to get past this creature, shows up ready to fight, and the group goes to a break. We start a combat after we get back, and it goes fairly quickly with the creature turning invisible. But thanks to a couple well-placed spells, the group is able to fight it before it... I'm so sorry. It's the talking and then I don't breathe. Before turning into an ape to continue fighting, but eventually the group does slay it. Although there is some worrisome moments about making sure nothing is left inside the creature, or how, when we attack it, how we're doing so. And the group does feel kind of bad. But everybody's very happy to see Oshin, and we continue towards the direction we were pointed towards, the Sea Hag's cave. As we walk, we encounter another creature named Encoat, who offers to sell us items, including a beautiful deck of cards. And heeding the warning to not make any deals, they move on without looking. But Pesk does agree that the next time she is in the cave, perhaps she will look at his items there. And she hopes that is just a suggestion of, yeah, I'll look next time, but she did not promise to purchase anything. But she did say that she would at least look. Finally, the group enters another cave filled with mushrooms that appear to be giving off some sort of painful spore. There's one path that leads deeper into the cave, but it's blocked by a giant mushroom, and finding another way around, the group finds a set of stairs to a pool of water. Pesk goes to inspect the pool and is launched at by the hag, who tries to grab at her, but thanks to the fact that she's got scales that are kind of slick, the hag splashes right back off. And so, Pesk, thinking that she's very smart, decides to cast a spell into the pool of water, going, hey, you know what happens when you put lightning in water, right? But the spell is absorbed by the pool. So, Pesk, very irritated by this just jumps in, thinking, well, she can swim and she can hold her breath a long time. What better way to lure this hag back out than being bait, who is pretty darn strong. But unfortunately, it is a mirror plane or a mirror pool, and she's sucked onto the other side and separated from the group. She finds the hag there, who is delighted at catching Pesk by herself. And Pesk leaves the pool of water to get closer to the hag, trusting that the party will come after her because they're smart, they can figure it out. And the pool solidifies into ice behind her, which is much more worrying. On the other end, lichen begins to spread all around the pool, which unfortunately Finku steps in and it ages him 10 years. The lichen begins to spread and the group tries to avoid it. The hag does attack Pesk and while Pesk gets a little bit hurt, she eventually crushes the jar of storm silk that she had procured from the box of supplies that they had lifted from the 5 and channels lightning into the hag, making quick work of her. Pesk looks for the cauldron and finds it, and then while looking around finds 4 very creepy dolls. And Pesk thinks about taking them for half a second, but then decides that's probably not a good idea. So instead, the group spend an hour or so chipping at the ice to get back across, and Pesk leaves fairly unharmed, as does the rest of the group from the main cave. And they give the cauldron to Zreet, who informs the group that some of them will be going to find an additional item tomorrow. And we learn that the items, when put together, remove vampirism.
That's a lot of things right into session that we learned.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it looks like the recap for the session that happened on Saturday or Friday evening did not get posted. So I think it is in the scribe notes, unless someone who was there can probably piece together what happened.
I was not in that session personally, but I can read the notes. Okay, so the party was, there was no session Saturday.
I meant Friday.
It was Fridays, yeah.
I apologize. I meant Friday.
That was the costume party one.
Yep.
It is in the actual, real notes. It's just not in the session recap. Notes.
Oh, that was the second half of the session, right?
The party, yeah.
Okay, so they... let me just make sure I have the right information.
It is session 39.
Yes. Okay, so they dealt with everything. Okay, so the party that day had another instruction from their book to meet at the Undermist, which is where the waters falling from the 2 lakes by the city converge and create this mist inside this big canyon. So they spent the morning preparing for that and getting their costumes and stuff ready for the party at Pinball's house or Moe's tower later. So they gathered at the safe house and met with Zreet. Nathan has a new tattoo from his patron, and
she has revealed for the first time to the entire group. It was the first time he'd had them exposed.
Yes.
Was it a new tattoo or just the brand, the twigs?
The twigs. I don't know that it was a new tattoo.
I don't think it was a new tattoo. I think it was just
okay.
He saw twigs growing out of his skin, and then it went away.
Interesting. Okay. Zreet. Oh, and Nathan asked Primeheart if he knew anything, and Primeheart doesn't know anything about the Leafy situation. Zreet appeared and gave everyone the same rules as the day before. Don't follow lights, Don't go into areas you can't see the other side of. Don't agree to anything. Don't take anything with you. And don't take anything except what the hag has. And she also instructed them that the group would be taking a red cap or two. They, and then through speaking with Zreet, Nathan realized that the thing was happening to him because he had drawn a creature that was in the Undermist. They get down there. Rosie fell in the water, so she wasn't super excited about that, but she was okay. As they get in there, they find a small gray dog digging and cowering and looking for food. Oshin tried to talk to it, and the others jumped in, but the dog just kept cowering and backing away, so they bypassed it, and it followed everyone for a few dozen feet and then lost interest. Then it started to snow, and the snow got to about 1 to 2 feet thick on the ground and then suddenly stopped and turned into a thick sheet of ice. And they managed to start getting across the ice, and then it shifted, and something was appearing below the ice, some sort of body. And they realized, of course, that the ice was very thin, but they kept walking, and suddenly there were more and more bodies thudding against the ice underneath. Sorry, I'm trying to follow this, but I didn't watch this session.
It's all good.
They keep walking. There's more bodies trying to bang against the ice. And they're trying to break free from it. So, and of course, Syl's there, so everyone's worried that Syl's going to be so heavy that she's going to fall through the ice. And some of them are starting to feel a compulsion to break through the ice on their own. So, Oshin even pulls out a crowbar and bangs a hole in the ice, and then the creatures grab the crowbar and start making the hole bigger, which is, of course, potentially causing them more problems trying to get across. After an hour or so of getting past that and trudging through the snow, they come to a stream of red in the snow, and they do figure out that it's blood, and they find a lot more bloody patches dotting the landscape here and there. And they end up following it and finding a spring, a hot spring, and a red cap. So they fight the red cap. Party members dropped several times, but they were able to eventually kill 2 red caps off the corpses of the evil fae. And then on the way back, they stopped at the river again, and Syl swam down for the crowbar and found a sheet of air shale in crystal clean water. So she wasn't wearing shoes, and she walked on the air shale as she picked up the crowbar.
Yeah, that was a horrible realization.
Yep.
Oh, because it was raw. Was it raw air shale?
Yeah.
Completely raw, just a full expanse.
So wasn't it like the whole bottom of the lake?
The whole bottom of the lake.
Yeah.
Was all air shale, and she'd taken her shoes off.
Oh,
that's...
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fine. Nothing bad will happen, I'm sure.
So after that, everyone...
my heart hurts thinking about it.
I know.
That's painful. Yeah, everyone went back and got the items, the 2 hats to Zreet, and then went over to Moe's for the costume party. So Nathan was dressed as a pirate captain. On here it says Mari was a pirate, but I know Mike said that Mari actually was Raggedy Ann.
No. That was a joke that
Logan did.
Because Nathan and Mari went as pirates together.
Gotcha. Okay.
That was a joke Logan made.
Primeheart went as the Pigtato.
I stand by it.
Okay.
Go away.
Oshin was in a king costume, and Pinball was dressed as Saldana. Yep. GB had flowered all over himself and was Pip.
It was amazing.
Syl went as Pinball, complete with a glitter beard.
And Rosie, glitter daddy jumpsuit.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, you gotta include that.
Rosie had dressed as a sheep, and she had dressed Agrishk, her little rat, as Little Bo Peep. Lark dressed up as Syl. Foster the bear was dressed up as GB. Dermot, Lark's stuffed teddy bear, was dressed as Stokes, the bugbear butler from Sildana's mother's house.
Mm-hmm.
Owen used disguise self to cycle between different guests at the party. Soxy was in a Yoth costume. I do want to say the reason she chose that is because she couldn't figure out what else she could dress up as that would actually disguise her.
Oh,
I tried to think of something. I was like, what can I dress up as? And I even searched like bug costumes online, and didn't even occur to me until the images started showing up. I'm like, oh wait, these are costumes for people who want to dress up as bugs.
Not what costumes people are putting their bugs into.
This is a problem. Yeah, so she figured out that she could wear a mask and a cloak and be disguised as Yoth, more or less.
I love how we all started dressing up. Like,
I
people
know.
just started like, we're dressing up as other party members.
I want to point out for Syl is that she had a replica made of a jumpsuit that Pinball already had that said Glitter Daddy across the butt. I would like to point that out because it is very important to know.
And then Sildana came in a pink and white dress and had fairy wings. Pesk came as an egg tube.
Yep.
I didn't hear about that.
Yellow dress, yellow glitter. I wasn't into.
Oh my god. And
Mesri was the most horrifying thing.
Mesri came dressed as a strongman. Which, what did he do? Take his shirt off? I mean, there's no difference.
Like the little fake barbells with the little handlebar mustache.
It was very
okay.
nice. It was a good costume.
So, like the stereotypical circus strongman.
Yep.
Yes.
Except his weight probably wasn't fake.
Probably
not.
And then Mo was a glitter ball spinning on the ceiling of the tower the whole time.
Yeah.
It was the best.
He was a disco ball. None of us noticed till like halfway through the party. It was
Thank you. It was a disco ball. It was great.
yeah. It's like full on did they make that joke in Monsters Inc? There was with Mike Wazowski. I think they did it in Monsters Inc a few times.
It's possible.
I think they did.
There you go. That's what Mesri was dressed as.
And that was the last session. So
Woo!
Now we're at everyone's favorite part of Countless Chronicles, the shipping.
Or the questions.
And
Or the
questions.
questions.
Both of them were great.
But both, honestly. So for anyone watching, this is the point where you can, well, you could have asked us already, but you can now definitely start asking us any questions you have either for our characters or for things that we have in terms of theories or ideas about what's going to happen next in game.
Hashtag.
We're gonna try not to give
The
Logan
grandfather.
ideas.
What? Oh, God.
Stand by it.
Didn't Afra say she was present at Tybalt's
I
birth?
still stand by it.
Okay.
Look, some people get crazy ideas, and some
Jay.
people... Oh, Jay, that question. Do we
I hope
actually
so.
think we will kill the king?
I
I am
hope- I don't-
torn.
Oh,
I
it's hard to
don't know.
say. Oh, one thing. I don't know what session it was. I remember Mike told me that one of the things you guys found out from, I think it was Afra, is that they thought they might have driven the king crazy.
Yeah, they Victor created the king. Victor was not happy with the way things were going, and for political reasons, they got him involved with a
vampire
person who turned him into a vampire, and they didn't realize that they had done that until after the Gaius was broken. So they're having some times right now.
Just a little bit.
Jay, to answer your question, I am torn. I am of two minds. Yes, he did terrible things. There's potential for him to atone for that and to not be a terrible person. My hope is that we use the tools that we're getting to cure him of his vampirism and give him an actual chance to be a good person and a good ruler. Do I think that that is actually what's going to happen? No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that the rebellion is going to...
I don't like that, Logan.
Yeah.
Damn it, Logan.
I'm pretty sure that the rebellion is not going to let that be an option, though.
Yeah.
I kind of hold out hope.
I'm kind of on the same fence, like, especially knowing now what we know about the fact that his becoming a vampire and some of his craziness wasn't actually his own doing. Now, that doesn't change the fact that whether or not he had something sort of affecting him, he brought the Leviathan up and murdered thousands of people. That still happened.
Yeah.
So something, there has to be some sort of recompense for that. And honestly, there's not a lot of things you can do that offset mass murder.
Yeah, no, not so much.
Yeah.
There's very, very few things I can think of. Even in a D&D setting world, there's more options, but there's still not that much you can do to offset the fact that you mass murdered thousands of people. That's a problem.
I mean, I give him props for his whole reasoning for marrying Saldana and telling her very honestly, I don't make good decisions.
Yeah.
I need you to help me.
I need a moral compass, please.
Yeah. Yeah, kudos to that.
For him for recognizing that he needs help and that he wants to do the good thing, and that's why he married someone with a moral compass, so he can do better.
Right, but
that's where there's promise.
He probably should have done that, 17 years ago.
A while ago, yeah.
So there's that. Honestly, the other thing is to, like, for Heather doesn't know what's going to happen yet. I'm always interested to see what Logan's going to pull out of his ass for the different things that happen, because there's usually some kind of a twist that you don't see coming, in my experience. Soxy is very much of the mind of, this sucks that something happened to him that affected him. I have sympathy for that because the same thing happened to me. And guess what? The thing that happened to me, that's your fault. So is the mass murder of thousands of people. So, is she going to necessarily be the one to cut his head off? No. Is she going to complain if someone else does?
Pesca's having some real lost innocent issues over the last... There's been a lot of Pesca moments of losing innocence over the last couple of episodes.
Yeah, Soxy's a vengeance paladin.
I didn't know that. Oh, shit.
I did.
We haven't run into many points where her vengeance has needed to be an issue.
No, we haven't. Yeah, it's weird because I know that, like, either way, I'm gonna love the story. But I think with Mari, with that, is that she doesn't necessarily want to kill him, but because of what she saw and what she went through in Farbrook, after everything happened the day after, and seeing all the refugees coming in, she wants something to happen. She wants either, like, him to step down or actually, like, atone for it, something, but she doesn't, like, know exactly what, like, where she is, and, like, do I want to completely take him down, or, like, try to, like, with the vampirism thing, try to fix that and maybe see if that helps? She doesn't really know.
Aiden's asking if we think there's an even bigger bad than the king.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I've
very much
played in a campaign with Logan before. The answer is always yes. There's always something bigger and badder that's either happening that you have to fix, or that's actually a person that's happening and you have to do something about it. There's always something else. I mean,
I'm not entirely convinced that that isn't the leaders of the rebellion, honestly.
Yeah. That's not entirely wrong in my thought process either, because I don't know, it's weird, because, like, I want to trust them, but there's a part of me that is just like, you don't tell us a lot of stuff. There's a strange disconnect between them and the party member.
I don't know that it is Aldeon, but I kind of worry about Zreet, honestly, and Tira, and the leaders of our specific cell. Yeah, there's some weirdness there. I'm not entirely...
Jay is pointing out that Algazoth is also an unknown quantity.
Yeah! Plus, like, the introduction of that, like, the whole thing with Victor is like we don't know fully what they did because they don't know fully what they did. Like it could be a whole other.
Yeah, but Algazoth was part of that. How far back does his influence go? Is he the one that influenced them to be worried to get the king turned into a vampire? I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Is this whole thing the plot of some demon king that wants to just destroy everything and steal all the souls of the people in the city?
Entirely possible. It's
very feasible. I don't like it if it is.
I do not want.
No.
Honestly, the other thing is, too, though, just having played several games with Logan, he tends to have things build organically. So he might have a few different ideas about things that could happen that we have to deal with. But it's also possible that he hasn't settled yet on what the ultimate big bad thing we're going to have to deal with is, because he's going to have to see how things progress and where we go.
Yeah, and the idea of things being morally gray, because in the real world, nothing is black and white. And Logan very much heavily draws on that just because something may seem a certain way and is very cut and dry does not mean it actually is. I mean, look at even the growth we've seen in Jastra and everybody in Pinball. Just because someone seems like, oh my god, they're a terrible person, there are outside influences for everything. Morally gray is, makes it such a compelling story that it's really easy to get sucked into being in your character's head.
Yeah, we've already cried and we're not even like...
Oh yeah, multiple times.
Oh yeah.
Multiple times.
Oh yeah.
No.
Okay.
I cry lots. Shall we go into the shipping time? You can always continue to ask questions. We can continue to ask questions. We will answer them. But let's talk about. Oh, okay. What about the other Braith? Okay, I have Pesk has not gotten to interact with him at all, so I don't know. I have not interacted with him. He is a very interesting character from what I see.
We haven't really interacted with him for a minute now. We don't even know fully what's going on.
We do know that he was spoken with by some of the people from the Resistance, and that he told the group, at least, that a lot of his goals align with the Resistance. If he's telling us the truth, which at this point we have no reason to doubt, his whole thing is that he follows truth and honesty and wants truth in all things, whether it's good or bad. So at the moment, at least, Soxy doesn't have any bad feelings about him necessarily. He's been vetted by the people from the Resistance, so she feels a little better about talking to him. And then Logan just asked us, how have our theories changed since last Chronicles?
Oh shit, Jay. Jay's having a moment in chat.
Oh. No, Jay. Don't
do this.
Don't do that. No.
Uh-oh.
My theories, as much as I joke about it, I am a little bit less obsessed with the idea that Tybalt is his own grandfather. I like to play it up, but I'm kind of walking back a little bit on that one. As far as Eris goes, I think that the idea that someone is a truth seeker is very interesting, considering the conversations they had. Well, that's my truth, and that's your truth. No, there is only the truth, and I don't think he's as wise as he thinks he is. Because truth is relative to whoever is speaking it at the moment.
Well, and it also depends on what he means by truth. If he just means the facts, then the facts of what happened are very black and white. It's either A or B. However, if he's talking about like your own personal truth, that is a completely different thing. So that's one thing that I don't know that we fully clarified with him either. So that's a factor. And then what theories that have changed since the last Chronicles? I'm trying to remember what theories we talked about at the last Chronicles. That was 2 weeks ago.
We talked about the
feel
title
that.
of his own grandfather. We talked about potential that someone higher up in the rebellion is actually responsible.
Oh, the Keysmith. We still don't know who the Keysmith is.
No idea who the
Nope.
Keysmith is. Not even close.
What
if
else did
Air
we
is
talk about?
Keysmith, y'all?
That's where my brain went when Jay started
I
freaking
think-
out in chat. I'm not gonna lie.
I think that might be what Jay's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, my theories are all over the place. I don't know that any of them are. There is something fishy with the Tybalt grandfather thing. I will say that there is something real fishy there. I have not figured it out yet. Because there's, for the life of me, there should be no reason that Tybalt said, "Oh, I sold this vial of air shale to a buddy of mine from college," and that buddy being Tyrell, when Tybalt wasn't a fucking alive then. So I see you. Tyrell.
Yeah.
Something's fucking weird there. So, Jay, you were correct.
You were correct.
Did say that Jasper might secretly be resistance, and we really wanted that to be true, and we were really happy.
And it was.
Yeah, that worked out really well for us. So well for us. That also means, though, that basically Jastra forced her daughter into a marriage so that she could have a resistance spy inside the castle without telling her daughter that that's what she was doing.
Right.
Jasper clarified that, by the way.
Hello, voice from the ether.
God.
Hello.
Jasper clarified twice, once to Saldana and once to the rest of you, during that session, that very important tea meeting that you guys summarized in 2 sentences. She clarified during that she did not, very specifically did not put her in that position.
Yeah.
That you do not say no to a man like
He didn't want
Goodsberry.
Yeah.
That was actually
And
not
she
a
was trying to
plan
get
at
Saldana
all.
out of harm's way.
Yeah, no, that was very heavily
Got it.
discussed. That was not at all part of Jastra's plan, and she was very apologetic for it happening. But she literally could not tell the king no.
I can see that being a problem.
A little bit,
Just a little bit.
especially when you're trying to do the rebellion thing and hide that, because that would just answer that would just open up a bunch of questions.
It's fine, I'm sure.
It's totally
Aiden
fine.
wants us to move on to the ships.
Okay, one last call for any other questions anyone has thought of, and then we'll move on to ships.
We will save them for later. So if you guys still have questions, please put them in chat, and we will answer them as they come up. But to the shipping.
Oh boy.
Okay, well, since Aiden's the one poking about it, I think we should start with Yoth.
Oh boy.
Who do we ship Yoth with?
Yes.
I don't
I think he
know.
and Zreet would be hilarious together.
That would be
Oh
so
my god.
It's kind of a crack ship, but I want Yoth and Zreet because she puts him in his place.
Oh my
So
god.
I just think it would be hilarious. Sorry,
Jay,
Aiden. I think it would
Jasper-
be amazing.
Jay, I do think Jasper knows that Saldana is a cleric. I think she
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah,
think
I
she
would
knows.
agree.
probably at this point.
Zreet and Yoth.
It's a crack ship. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a crack ship and a half.
Mhm.
I mean, I ship Yoth in water, but that's a terrible.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
we're
me.
chiming in that one. That's
Sorry.
bad.
That
we
was me.
love you, Aiden.
We love you.
We're kidding. We're just having fun. Yeah, but no, I seriously think that it would be one of those couples where everyone's like, the fuck? But at the same time, it kind of works.
Yeah.
I think Yoth and Zreet is probably the
Mhm.
most reasonable ship.
Yeah.
Okay, and then who else have we not talked about recently? I mean, a lot of the ships have been remaining the same. We can now say that even though, I mean, last time Tessa and I were talking about how we shipped Haley and Mari.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
we didn't
Jay was-
actually.
We didn't know if Mari was bisexual or interested in women, which apparently not.
No, she is not.
Though, as my child did say, spaghetti's straight until you get it wet. So,
Oh my god.
that was the thing that was said by my 13-year-old. Ha! Sorry. It was real weird.
Okay.
Yeah. So, sorry. I was amused by that
I
sentence.
love Kendall so much.
That's fantastic. You can tell them I approve.
Same. Not that we should encourage that, but same.
No, it should be encouraged.
Aren't they going into high school soon? They're gonna
Yeah,
hear
next
worse.
year. Next
It's
year
fine.
they are going into high school.
They're totally gonna hear worse.
Yeah.
They say worse already. It
Yeah,
just
well.
really amused me. No, absolutely. My kind of Tybalt Nathan ship has sailed. I think that they could be good friends at least, but as interesting as I would have found them to at some point get romantically involved, I don't think it's definitely. I definitely think that's not a thing that's going to happen. So I've let that go.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see who Tybalt does end up with. I kind of, after that one conversation with Primeheart, a little bit could ship Tybalt with Primeheart.
Well, that's interesting.
That is a very interesting. Huh.
I think it would be a slow burn, though.
That'd be
I
a
don't-
real
yeah.
slow burn.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like they come together quickly. I think it's going to be like a gradual buildup, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can see it.
That is a slow burn ship right there. Okay. So, have you stepped away from Prima Donna?
I still like the idea of Prima Donna.
Same.
I really like Prima Donna too.
I
Plus
love
the
Prima
best ship
Donna.
name ever.
It is
Yes.
such a good ship name.
Yes. But we don't know what's going to happen with the king yet, is the thing.
I don't know that Saldana's ever going to be into the king. I
honestly don't.
I
Even
don't
if he
think so.
turns out to be like some sort of saint that
That's
was
your-
corrupt.
We know that's your ship, Logan.
Even if he turns out to be like a saint that was somehow corrupted, it's going to be weird.
Yeah.
But yes, I still like Prima Donna.
Same.
I still ship that.
It's so good.
I think I just ship Primeheart loosely with everybody because
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yes. Well, because he's just so gentle and he just loves everyone and
Except
is so
for this
welcoming.
past session, he was a sassy.
he was
little
a
shit.
sassy Goliath, and it
sassy.
was amazing. I loved it. Rosie goes unconscious, and he doesn't heal. He didn't heal.
No.
He has spared the dying and carried her ass out. He's like, I don't want to hear from you for a little while, so I'm just gonna
No,
carry her.
she broke him. It was finally just no. We're
Wow.
done.
So tired of this. I will carry your ass out of here. It was great. Oh, God. It was really hard because Jenny was playing right behind me, so I was listening to her to be so quiet. Oh, it was great though.
So funny.
That was phenomenal.
That's hilarious.
I'm casting Spare the Dying and I'm carrying. I don't want to hear from you for a little while.
Love it.
It was great. It was honestly one of the most hilarious, best things that have ever happened.
It was so good.
But speaking of Rosie, let's talk some Rosie ship.
Okay.
I still want to ship her with one of the goblins. from the village. I didn't see the interaction with them though, so I don't know if she had a thing for any of them.
She did not. There was not a standout thing. I kind of ship Rosie Finku.
Same.
I could see that.
I love Rosie Mo.
Oh.
Rosie's adorable. So we'll see.
Well, okay, previously
cute.
we shipped Patsy and Rosie, and we had Posey.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, yeah,
Mo and Rosie would be Mosey.
Oh,
I like hashtag
that's
Mosey.
very cute.
Hashtag Mosey. But then what would Finku and Rosie be? Finksy?
Roku.
Roscoe?
Roku.
Roku?
Roku.
They are very entertaining.
Rosie and Roku.
You're not wrong.
Oh, wasn't there also Swazi?
There is Swazi as well.
Yeah.
So I know that Rosie is not interested in Swazi, but
That's good because he's poisonous if she kisses him.
He can turn it on and off.
He could turn it off. It's fine. Jay, Rosie and Bailiff, if only for that Bailiff lore.
Rosie and
God.
You know, if you ever forgot to turn it off, I mean, she would then be hopping mad.
Look, if you're gonna do those kind of terrible puns, you got to show your face.
I'll-
Seriously, you gotta actually.
No, I'll
you're gonna
stay
do
away.
that.
Not only that, but you should probably do it when it's not the three people who always give you the really face whenever you make
To be fair, I don't because I fucking love puns, but
Okay. So, other ships. Who else do we have that we
who
haven't
is shipping
shipped
with
recently?
Owen these days?
Oh shit! Yeah.
I kind of could ship him and Holly now that she's in charge. Now that she's in charge. Because and now that things aren't as hard since they have supplies.
Praising Heather.
I was about to say. I saw Heather's
God
face
damn
and I
it.
was like, stop. I was about to call Tessa out and be like, "What's going on?"
Anyway, but yeah. I could ship Holly and Owen.
Aiden.
Yeah.
Aiden,
Gooseberry and Aldeon. Aiden, no.
Ooh, what if Goodsberry and Daisy were a thing, though? Like, secretly, the 5 is trying to make the Resistance look bad?
Owen and Amy, by the way.
Interesting.
Oh, and Amy?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know.
I haven't seen any of the interactions between Amy and Owen yet, so I
There's not
reserve
been
judgment on that one.
Not been that many.
Because no, Aiden.
Aiden.
Who else do have? Who else
Alright.
haven't we shipped recently?
We haven't shipped Soxy with anyone recently.
Ooh.
Who is there to ship Soxy with?
So many people.
Okay.
Let's see. Soxy and Kurt Ramblenut.
He's married.
So is Jastra, but that's not start with Lark.
Fuck. You're not wrong.
I'm pretty sure Soxy would I don't know. Zeknar Fettles. He was very into you. So
Probably not for that reason.
That's true, but she wasn't into him.
very interesting.
Jay's question. How does Soxy feel living in an even more glittery home?
Yeah, how does she feel about that?
It came with pluses and minuses. Given her history, she's a little paranoid about, being attacked again.
Fair.
Or separated from Oshin.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that she's living with Oshin several hundred feet above the city in a hidden wizard compound that only a handful of people know how to get to, she's a little less concerned.
That's fair.
It's a trade-off. She can deal with the glitter. If it means that she gets those things.
You know, I respect that.
And
I understand.
She likes pinball, so she's okay with that too. I assume his compound is big enough that her bedroom is not next to theirs because she wouldn't want it to be. And so that's also going to cut down on the glitter transference.
That's fair.
I think we're all pretty firmly in the Syl whatever camp.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
100%.
100%.
Also, Aiden said that he needs.
Oh
some
my God,
tinfoil
Jay.
hotness about
No,
Jay.
no.
And I disagree
Don't do
100%
that. Oh
with
my
Jay. I
God.
hope it's not. Jesus
Oh
Christ.
god. Oh,
Jay, no.
that'd be so bad.
Jay, no.
Panic.
Well, and the problem is that now if
What
that
if
was
the Leviathan is actually Nathan's patron?
Oh shit.
oh.
Okay,
Okay,
I don't
see,
like that.
both of those ideas that you guys just threw out, if they weren't already in Logan's head, are now in Logan's
now
head, and I
there,
don't
yeah.
like that.
I fully understand.
Yeah, I already know what the
don't like
Leviathan is. I'll give you that one.
Okay.
I will or
Great.
won't give you, I will not confirm nor deny if the other idea was already in my head and or is already.
I don't like that. Jay, no. What have you done?
Damn it.
All right, Jay didn't do anything.
Okay then.
Let's talk about Lark for a second.
Oh boy.
Oh, there's Jastra, of
Well,
course.
yeah, but okay, so here's the question. Now that Jastra has been released from that feeling of having to be secretive and all of those things, and is actually kind of a nicer person for it, do you think she's still going to want their rendezvous?
Oh, or will she feel bad about cheating on her husband?
Yeah.
I don't know so much about. I think
It
I
was
mean-
explained pretty clearly in game
Yeah.
that
they had an
don't-
arrangement.
theirs was completely a political arrangement, and both of them have outside connections.
Say, because she still seemed
Gotcha.
very interested in Lark at the tea meeting as well. So.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah,
so
that's a
you
good
guys
question.
want a little? I'll answer that question. I'll give you guys that one.
All right.
So Logan was absolutely going to break it off between the two of them at the tea party. But I
Okay.
couldn't. Jasper really likes him. He was really nice to Jasper.
I just love
Which
that.
is a total
I
dick.
couldn't.
I couldn't do it. I was gonna. I had it all planned. I had exactly how she was gonna say it. She was gonna give him a hug and say, I'm gonna miss you, and then I was like, no, I can't. There's
Aw.
just, he was literally the only person nice to her when she was a total bitch, trying to hide who
shit.
she was.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, like she said in game, not necessarily all hiding. I mean, it wasn't. She was that person to a degree, just maybe not as extreme, but yeah, it was. No. I was going to end it, but then no, she decided not to.
Okay
It's
then.
actually really sweet.
Interesting.
I kind of dig that.
Hello, cat.
Yeah, sorry, Jake.
There's just all sorts of cats and cat noises on stream tonight.
I have no pupper behind me. Normally I do.
My puppers are upstairs in bed.
My pupper is sad because Jenny has gone home, and
Oh,
still
Anya.
Anya had kept Jenny pretty firmly company. Regardless, anytime she was on stream, she had all of the cats and all of the dog on her. It was very amusing. Let's see, who else can we ship that we haven't talked about shipping in a while? Nathan and Mari, we've kind of paired off.
They paired themselves off.
They
Yes,
paired
yeah.
themselves. We all ship Pinball. We know that is an
Yeah.
ongoing
100%. Yeah.
Hashtag pinball. It's a thing.
forever.
Forever
Yes.
and always.
GB I ship with happiness.
It's true.
Just happiness. Who are we missing? Pip. Who do we ship and Pip with these days?
Egg tubes.
I
I mean, you just ship Pip
Am I
with
wrong? Am I wrong?
No, you're not
No.
necessarily wrong. Pip with egg tubes. All right. Do we ship Pip with anybody aside from egg tube?
Maybe Stroop because of the Stroop waffles.
True.
Oh,
I could
yeah.
see Pip and Stroop.
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even Pip and Ivy for that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Kind of like Pip and Ivy, honestly.
Or, Tip to Tail. The I forget the name.
Briar, Birch, or Basil, which one?
Oh, I don't remember. I was very out of it that session.
The
One of
lady, the lady, or one of the boys?
I forget who said it. It was the specific thing of like, if it happens again, we'll like stop patronage.
That is the lady. That is
Yes.
Briar.
Yes, then Briar.
I could see Pip and Briar.
Mm-hmm.
Pip
Yeah.
and Briar is a good ship. All right, so I have a question for you guys.
Oh boy.
Hashtag Pez, is it a thing or is it not a thing?
Oh, it's
Pez is
totally a thing.
It's a thing.
because Pez wasn't
I love
sure about Mesri until something that happened recently on the stream. She was like, "Okay, this is kind of nice," until he gave the samples of the Ursali's touch and everything to everybody. He's like, "Oh, you're giving gifts to my friends? Okay, now I'm
We're
in."
good.
I took
You're
that
worrying
for her to
about
be on
the
board.
safety of my
Yes.
friends. Good.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're helping us? Okay. Okay, maybe you're interesting after all.
No, it wasn't you're helping us because she took herself completely out of the equation. You're
Mhm.
helping the people that I care about? Okay, I'm into
Mhm.
you.
Oh.
Although
I
I will
love
say
that.
she's been very, very, very chaste, and the whole thing, they hadn't done anything besides a kiss on the cheek until after the situation with the hag. I had this mental image of her basically running back into the city, finding him, and just full on jumping up into him and just planting a big old kiss on him,
Oh,
which is
I love
hilarious.
that.
I do not know how that actually went because I have not talked in.
Still, I love
Jay,
that.
I love you.
I love you, Jay. That was great. Pretty much.
I have a feeling that's pretty much how all of us feel, though,
Mhm.
honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mistreat my friends. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And I'm sure for all of
Or
our
not,
characters,
as the case may be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. For all of our characters, I think there's probably at least one other PC where that person in particular, if someone didn't get along with them, it's just a no-go.
I
Like,
think,
for Soxy, it would obviously be O'Sheen.
yeah. I think for everyone, it's Rosie.
Yeah. Or GB.
Or
Or
GB.
Those two
Yeah.
we will protect always. Probably, honestly, for Mari, it would be Owen. Probably. Owen and Nate would probably be it.
Pesca's unsure about Owen. Pesca finds him very charming, a
Mhm.
little bit too smooth talky sometimes, and she's like,
Yeah.
"What are you on about? I'm so confused."
Yeah.
by
Or Pesk. It's either Owen or Pesk. Oh shit, no, actually, Saldana. Sorry, it's Saldana. My brain is very tired and had to remember names. It's Saldana. That's who it is.
Jay, I will
can see
fully
that.
admit the first time that O'Sheen met Owen and it was super fucking salty. It was amazing.
Yes, that was
I
hilarious.
loved it so much.
Oh, you're
that's Owen. I don't know what the fuss is about. That was amazing. Yeah, I've heard of Owen. It was great.
It
I
was so
loved it.
shady.
Yes.
Shady as
It was
fuck, and I loved it.
fantastic.
Do you guys have any favorite moments for your character so far?
I honestly think the last meeting that Mari had with Gesture, where she was just like, no, it's not worth finding out stuff about like what I am. It's not worth giving up the resistance information. It just wasn't.
Yeah, you've had some real good moments with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of like a specific big moment, and I don't know that there's been one yet. But I also, like, there are some weeks where, because of my work schedule, I only get to play one day. So that's kind of a hindrance on that sort of a situation. I did really like when Oshin and Soxy tried to talk to Trey.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
When we told everyone that was there, and then later everyone through the book, what had happened and that we didn't have our memories. That particular whole little section I really liked.
Either that or when we were talking to the king after the 5, when Mari like just completely broke her normal character and she was just like, why didn't you come? Just really genuinely angry, because it was the first time that like she was genuinely showing how she's been feeling and thinking for the past few sessions.
Ember wants to be on screen, apparently.
Yes.
Hello, baby.
Ember was like, hello, humans.
What was yours for Pesk?
Oh, Pesca's had a couple good ones. I think most recently, the moment of just freaking disintegrating a hag in one shot was kind of... I've never
Just
been so excited to roll a natural 20 in my
just looking at the hag and going no, and then completely erasing her from existence.
Yeah, that was
so bad.
Yeah, I was 100 points of damage in one hit was pretty ridiculous. Yeah, that was. I think that was kind of up there. She was pretty hyped after that.
Fair. You single-handedly took down a sea hag. That's fair.
Yep.
I literally felt bad. I was like, oh my god, Logan, I'm so sorry.
Nat 20 plus the root or whatever.
Yeah,
that
plus the storm silk, and then I used my cleric ability because it was lightning damage.
Max lightning damage. Yep. Jesus Christ, that was crazy. That was fantastic. Oh my god, but it was. What moment? Yeah. What moment that seems insignificant now are you worried might be something much larger?
I didn't pick those fucking dolls. I'm so worried.
Oh shit! Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many things because we've played with you before.
$5.
It's everything.
Fuck. I don't. Hold on.
What little things that have happened? Oh, that one time that Zreet showed up and was acting a little abnormal and had like the enchantment necklace on.
Oh yeah, yeah. For me, I think it was
trusting her.
That's fair. For me, I think it was the conversation that Jasher was having with Nate about the bloodlines, about like the blood family is all that matters or whatever. It was real pointed and it made me nervous.
The king going into that one room after Saldana made her request to protect the group from the Nocturne. I'm wondering if there's something back there. Probably not immediately through that first door, but that might be the door that leads to more inside the castle.
Not it obviously isn't as important now because they're dead, but the fact that the 5 during the whole hostage thing brought up the fact that Lark was chosen first by Jastra. How do they know that? Was a huge thing for me that I'm like, how did they know that? Because no one in the party knew about that really besides Syl.
I completely forgotten about that.
Yeah, that's
the
thing.
It. I had just remembered it. I was like, oh shit, that was a...
Yeah, because that also begs the question, well, if that's the case, like, how did they even find that out? Do they have spies inside the Erastus house? Do they have spies inside the Resistance that we don't know of? Like, there's a lot of things that could be going on there that's concerning.
Jay pointed out a really good point that Amy remembers things and that and the fact that she's only a year old. It is really worrying.
I'm kind of worried for
Mhm.
Pinball, honestly. When
Mhm.
Oshin went and said, I changed my mind, I thought his heart was just gonna like break into two. It was just like this moment of the tone of his voice was just, whatever you want, please just don't leave me. And I was so heartbroken.
Yeah. That was really sad. Well, and Soxy and Oshin still haven't talked yet about the whole, like... Okay,
Aggressive.
That wasn't in my house.
Nope, that was my house. Mowgli was chasing Cupid to try to get her to play with him, and it never works. Ever. There was the whole situation where, like, we haven't talked yet at all about whether or not we want our memories back. So, that's a concern. Because I also suspect that it's one of those things where, because we're linked, that in some way, that if one of us gets our memories back, the other does too. Which would mean we probably have to make the decision together in some way or something like that.
Like, okay, so here's my question: is like, you weren't a paladin or anything beforehand, though. So mechanically, if you get your memories back, are you still Soxy the paladin, or are you Soxy something else?
I don't know. That's a Logan question. I don't know what the decision's going to be.
Do you guys want to see this ridiculousness that's happening right now?
Yes. Oh, look at kitty.
Yeah, so that's definitely a question of what's that, because that's Soxy's concern. It's not that she has no interest in her previous life. She's concerned, like, what happens? What do I become? Am I still going to be a paladin? Do I lose XYZ? What's different?
Do you lose all the memories of who you are now?
Yeah. Oh my god, if that's what happened, could you imagine poor Pinball?
Oh god.
Oh god, that's so horrible. Oh.
And now I'm terrified.
These are all things that Soxy is concerned about, and she will express these concerns to Oshin whenever the two of them get a chance to talk about it. Also, Soxy's interested in the idea, but she 100% would not want to do it until either after the resistance was done with its job, or until they were at a point where it wasn't going to risk exposing everything. Because Pinball flat out said there's a risk of exposing the group and everything they're trying to do. And if that's the case, she's not going to want to do it, because if we expose everything, then we get a lot of people killed and we fail.
Yeah, and he said that you guys have to be sure.
Because even putting things in motion is going to start alerting people to what's happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, did he say that he would fix it or undo it?
I think he said he could undo it. I'd have to go back and watch the episode to say for certain.
I forget.
That's phrasing that's important.
Yeah, because if he undoes it, are we going to forget everything? Oh, God. I already had to play a character that didn't know who she was, and now I have to play a character who doesn't remember the last, 30 sessions.
Nope, hard pass. Thanks for playing. I don't care. I'm done. Goodbye.
This face is the face of someone who knows that Logan could pull something like that.
There was a thing that I don't know. Again, it's just like a minor thing Mari's kind of worried about, but there was a meeting with Jastra a while ago where she admitted that she had a family member that was in Farbrook who she hadn't spoken to in a while, and then moved to Highgarden. Or not Highgarden, it was High
Tower. High Water.
It's where Nathan's uncle lived.
High Water.
Or lives now. I was thinking Highgarden, Game of Thrones. I do it every time. And it seemed really weird that she'd let Mari know that. It could have just been getting to like be like, oh yeah, we have something in common, but it was really weird because she said she hadn't talked to him in a while, and the fact that we already have a situation with High Water where it's like the Nathan's uncle is from there. It's like,
It's I want to know, too, like the Duchess, Tybalt's aunt. Or
oh yeah,
Oh, Duchess
it's an aunt.
Violent.
It's his aunt.
Yeah, Aunt Violent.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Yeah, where did she go? Is she just gone? What was
Well,
her response to
and,
breaking the engagement?
Anika Chinratan, too.
Yeah, that one too.
That's another
It's
one where I'm like, what's going to
trade
happen
route.
with that?
Yeah, the whole trade route.
Yep.
Oh, another detail that I'm interested to see what's going to happen with it is Pinball telling us to be careful and not trust anyone that's in the library, because other people have access to the library that wouldn't necessarily like line up with our goals.
Yeah.
There was also something else Pinball said. I don't know if it's been like fully answered. Maybe it has, and I just wasn't in session or my brain didn't connect the dots. But when he was telling us about the connection, like the hive mind essentially for the Nocturnes, and he was explaining like how they were made, that they had to have a brain, because he kept saying they had to have a brain. That was like this. So it's probably just to do with the hive mind, but he kept putting a lot of pressure on that particular sentence. And it was like, I mean, we get it. They had to be connected, but he kept pushing for it.
Yeah, I think it's Imelda. I'm still pretty sure that the brain is
same.
Imelda.
Yeah. I'm concerned about that too, Jay.
Yes, everyone in Victor is a good liar or a good actor. I'm pretty sure something's gonna go haywire real quick with one of them, because that's a lot of the thing.
Especially with all of the memories coming back.
Yeah, that's extremely concerning. Of all of them, I think the one I'm most concerned about is Afra.
That's what Jay was just saying in chat. Same.
Which is hard, like, because Pest loves Afra, not like emotionally, like romantically, but like Afra is the person that she wants to trust the most.
Yeah, we were
warned
about Afra. We were warned. We were told that she knows more than she lets on.
Oh yeah, multiple times,
flat out by multiple people. And it's one of those things too where like Soxy trusts Pinball, but she still has concerns about it.
Missed that, Logan.
I forgot about that.
Missed that. Can I just say how much I love that Pinball left the tower to Mo, and it's just Mo's
I know,
place.
it's so good.
I love it. It's Mo's house.
Yeah,
he needs it. Mo deserves it. He's a good boy.
I want to know who Pinball rescued Mo from.
Yeah, because Mo is like he's shown a lot of it recently, where he's like he had a really shitty owner before, or like worked for someone that was awful. Yeah. I'm very curious because I will fight them. They will get a strongly worded bouquet from Mari.
I love that.
I want to know who it was, and I'm curious. Oh, Jay, you and I are on the same wavelength.
You're not
on
wrong,
that one.
Jay. That's my thought. That's my thought too.
Yeah, there's either that, or one thought I had was, if it's not the Keysmith, maybe whoever had Mo was someone that had like purchased him from Victor.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then later Pinball wasn't okay with how he was treating their creation and went and saved him.
I thought he was purchased from the Subrosarium.
I don't remember.
I don't recall.
I thought he was purchased by the Subrosarium, or Pinball got him from this Subrosarium, or they helped him find him, or something like that. There was a connection there.
Probably. I don't remember. I don't think I was in that session. So.
Yeah. We got very off topic from the ships.
I mean,
we're almost at 10 o'clock anyway, so I think we're probably going to wrap it up pretty soon.
yeah.
Any last questions or ships you want us to cover real quick? I don't know about you guys, but
Anybody?
I gotta play tomorrow, and I'm gotta get some sleep so I can play.
I
Yeah.
am the alternate, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully Joe's internet doesn't shit out on him.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, seriously.
Pesk has to deliver that present to Mesri, so
Oh, I'm so excited to see it.
I'm hoping that gets to happen on stream.
It is the cute. Okay, first of all, that is the cutest thing. That's the leather that he bought her as a gift, and she's making him a present with it. That was the cutest thing. Oh my god.
That's pretty cute.
That's really nice leather.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you, Jay. I do
Same.
think it's yeah, it's possible that Pinball will do something, but I do think he will specifically try to, if he does something, he'll specifically try not to hurt Oshin,
Yeah.
and possibly not Soxy by extension.
Maybe.
I'm not
so.
100% on that, but possibly also not Soxy by extension, because he knows it would make Oshin very upset.
Yeah.
But specifically because it would upset Oshin and not because of Soxy herself.
That's fair.
Yeah. Another theory that I still agree with is that if Pinball does something bad, he might do it with good intentions, but do something bad.
I hope we don't have to fight
Aiden,
Pinball.
no.
I don't want to.
I don't want to fight
to.
Pinball.
It would
I
be
would be
awful.
so
It would be a really
sad.
good story moment. Like, ooh. I don't want to, but it would be really good. What Owen thing was too suspicious?
Are you talking about the whole, like, getting mad at Owen for not using healing spells?
There's quite a few suspicious Owen moments. You gotta be more specific. Oh yeah.
I don't know if it was. I think it was. I don't know that it was out of nowhere, but I think it was more of that. Just he sees it as Owen having a solution to a problem and being unwilling to pursue it, and that was frustrating for him.
Yeah. Especially since it was a magical solution, so he... Yeah.
There's also, like, I have a lot of questions about Owen. I have a lot of questions about all the characters, but about Owen,
Pesk is an open book. There is nothing secret.
Exactly,
about
like,
Pesk. It's pretty obvious.
Some of us
the
are
characters
open
I've
books
played
because
with.
everything you need to know about us is in the book.
That's true.
But with Owen, it was it was a while ago. It's when we had gone to the Erasmus estate and he was able to do the bow and like all the intricacies without even blinking an eyelash. Like, it was really weird and very, very standoutish to me of just like, why do you know that so well?
Yeah. What's your background that is something you're
Exactly.
familiar with?
Yep. All right, guys.
Blackwall. You're not wrong, Jay.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all. Shall we call it a night for this chronicle?
I think so. It's almost 10.
All right. Mr. Logan,
Almost
are you
midnight.
there, sir, to take us?
Yep.
All right. As always, guys, thank you for coming and getting our bit of backstory, our bit of recap. We love hearing your theories, your ship ideas. We love geeking out with you about the show. As always,
Yes.
feel free to submit questions in advance as well. You can always submit questions to me at tessa@nerdsmith.org. I'm happy to take them in advance. And until tomorrow, who's ready to take on a vampire?
Do I have to say yes?
I think so.
Maybe.
A little bit.
Next time Logan will be on for our Ask Me Almost Anything with Logan
Yep.
for the arc recap. So Have a good night, guys.
Night, guys.
Night.
Thank you so much.